Well, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, January the 9th. The time is 7 p.m., and this is the regular meeting of the Town Council. Welcome to all those who are viewing from home, and you'll be able to find on our website, you'll be able to find all our information for the meeting tonight, the agenda and the agenda package. Welcome as well to all councillors, all are in attendance. Welcome to CAO Jeff Baker, Deputy Administrator Wendy McKinnon, Municipal Clerk Kim Casely, Police Chief Louis Sutherland, and our guest tonight is Dave Poirier, former Police Chief of the City of Summerside. Welcome. Do we still call you Chief? We'll call you Chief tonight anyway. Chief retired. Welcome, and it's good to have you here. Councillor, the agenda is before you. I want to add one item, of course, is there's going to be a presentation made under item number 4, which Chief Sutherland will be making. And also we want to add an in-camera item under 1191B of the Municipal Government Act. We've got a couple of items that we want to bring to your attention. So with those changes, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as addition with the additions. So moved by Councillor Glant, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Are there any before I go any further, I want to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded Mi'kmaq territory covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship, and we pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and into the future. Before we proceed further, are there any declarations of conflict of interest on any of the topics that are before us tonight? Hearing none, we'll move right along to item number 4, and this is where Chief Sutherland, I would turn the meeting over to you, and I would ask if perhaps you could come up here. Sure. And use this microphone, and Dave, if you want to come up here as well. We'll let Chief Sutherland explain it all. This
okay.
Way you're being videoed. You're on.
That's fine. Used to that.
So we'll get your good side.
So I wanted to have you here tonight, Dave, as we've been through quite a lot since I've came here, and you've been a great friend to me in the department. We did a lot of good stuff with CIS, PEI, and we also did you were with me when I was chair of the Chiefs Association, which I'm back as again now. So I just have a little something here for you, and thank you, Your Worship. So, and it says, congratulations, Chief Dave Poirier, on your retirement from Summerside Police Service. On behalf of Chief Sutherland and Deputy Chief Ewell and members, we would like to thank you for your many years of partnership and support to Kensington Police Service, 2022.
Very much so.
And we've had some really good stuff happen when we work together, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Dave. And as I am back as chair of the PEI Chiefs, I have a little memento for you from the Chiefs Association.
Oh.
So I'd ask you to open that if you would.
Uh-oh. It's not ticking.
No, it won't be ticking.
Yeah.
So I think that you and I were together as a team there for the Chiefs for 8 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So before I retired, Louis was asking me to join the executive, and I knew what was coming, so I declined because I knew I was getting out of the chair soon. So
Yeah, because
couldn't
David.
understand why.
Yeah.
Now he knows.
So Dave and I were at that work together and for 8 years of the Chiefs Association. And we had some interesting times.
Put it that
We
way.
had some interesting meetings, I'll tell you that. But anyway, it all came out very well.
You wanted me to open it because you didn't know what it was yourself.
I know what it is. Yeah, open up. But I have to report back to them tomorrow morning. So.
Oh. Whoops. Falling apart on me here. That's the mayor.
Yeah,
He's collecting stuff. Yeah.
you pass it to me, and I pass it to Wendy.
Oh, wow.
That's very nice. You can
Very nice.
tell the people what it says.
Nice plaque.
Oh,
You pass it around, maybe?
Yeah.
Very nice.
lovely.
That's nice. And again, Dave, it's been a pleasure.
Okay.
As
I wouldn't mind saying a couple of words if I could.
Yeah.
Right ahead.
So,
Away.
Pardon?
Let me move away.
No, you're fine.
Go back.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, CAO Jeff, admin Wendy, certainly thank you for the invitation tonight. And after 45 years, I thought it was time to pack it in. I've done my time.
Yeah.
I was telling Louis I wanted to leave before the election too. A few changes, but anyway, like Louis mentioned, we worked together for many years, and we always had a great working relationship with members of Kensington Police. So, and I hope that continues in the future. And we had some great times. We backed each other up tons of times, and we saw a lot of changes. And again, thank you all for inviting me tonight, and I really appreciate it. Mr. Mayor?
Congratulations and
Thank you
enjoy
so
your
much.
retirement. Glad to have you here, and I know that Chief Sutherland speaks highly of the work that you fellows have done. So it's great to have the two communities working well together.
Yep, it does.
So,
And
thank
that
you
will
for
that will
coming.
continue. I promise you it will
I
continue.
sure hope so, yeah.
Yep.
I better
Yeah, we'll get
here,
that.
I'll give this to Louis. Louis can carry
Shake
that.
some hands here.
Well, yeah.
I'll bring that up for you.
That's just, do you want to take
What's
it?
that in the box?
Yeah, well,
He's got the box in his hand there, yeah.
no.
Okay. That's nice.
Wendy,
Yeah, yeah, take care.
I'll be back. I'll see you about.
All right, good. See you, Dave. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. That was very nice. We will move right along to the item number 5, which is the minutes of December the 12th. Those minutes are before you. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of December the 12th, 2022? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt them as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. I pretty near said Pickering. I know, Bonnie, you picked up that, didn't you, Councillor McRae? I pretty near said it. It might happen a few more times yet. Okay. Any business arising out of the minutes? I seem to have lost my agenda. So just bear with me for a moment till I get everything back. I did something at some point in time. I changed my clicker, my mouse, to click from 2 clicks to 1. I don't know how I did it, because if I figured out how I did it, I changed it back to 2 clicks, and now I'm still clicking twice, and then it's taking me to the wrong direction. So, Wendy, if you know how to get me back, we'll have to get that sorted out tomorrow, if we could. All right. Now I am back to the agenda. Where are we? Any business arising out of the minutes of December the 12th? Yes, Councillor Glant. Now I've lost everything here. I'm in a bad shape here tonight. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just on item 8.2, where I had brought forward a request at the last meeting regarding street lighting.
Yeah.
I'd also like to talk about that again. I had some people get back to me, and they were glad to hear that we're looking at street lights in different areas. There's been 2 more areas brought forward, and one is up on Sunset Drive, I think between McLean Avenue and Sunset Crescent. There's an area in there that's quite dark. I was up and looked myself one evening. And the other place that was brought forward to me and is at the end of Saunders Lane, which is at the crosswalk for the Queen Elizabeth Elementary School. And although that crosswalk is used mostly during the day, there has been some people come forward and say there is people that use the school, sometimes use the school in the evenings, and they walk up there and it's really dark as you cross that crosswalk right at the end of that Saunders Lane. So I was wondering if we could put that on with other requests for street lights within the town.
Yeah. I know Mr. Baker is working on, he's trying to get a list of where all the streetlights are and where some extra lighting is required. So we'll add those as areas that for consideration. Do you have anything else to add on that, Mr. Baker? I know you're in the middle of doing stuff on it. So.
Yeah, no, not really. My intention is to bring a report forward to January committee meeting with recommendations on locations for streetlights, as well as some options for policy development as well to guide us in the future.
Right, I believe you have that in your CAO's report, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, then we'll see adding that on to it then. Anything else, Councillor Doucette?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I'm glad Councillor Glant actually brought that up because it reminded me, I was speaking to a member of the community yesterday actually on that same thing. And it was just, I'll leave it with you too, Jeff. It was just a light that is existing that just isn't working. I assume that's us that has to contact them to make a list and whatnot. Anyway, it was on the corner of Chestnut and Victoria Street, this particular area. I mentioned that I would bring it forward, so I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Your Worship.
And if there's any time that you notice a street light that is out, if you can get the number on the pole, if you happen to see it yourself, get the number on the pole and give that to us, then we just send, we've got a contact, we send it in to, so we'll find out what that number is. That's how they identify them. So if we send in an email, we have a contact, we send it in, say it's pole number such and such, and they know right where to go to. So we'll get that one. Is there any other lights out that anybody has noticed? We did have a lot of problem a while ago, but it's been good lately. So Councillor Toombs.
Thank you. There's a few up on the hill. I just haven't got the numbers written down, so I'll try and get some numbers and drop them into the town hall.
That'd be great. Because if you see them, of course, you might not be able to get the numbers at night. But if you know which ones are out, then you can get the numbers and then we can send it into Maritime Electric. They're pretty good at getting them fixed once we send in the list. All right. Any other comments on the business arising out of the minutes? Hearing none, we'll move right along to the reports. The first report is the Chief Administrative Officer's report. That report is before you. Councillor, are there any questions on the CAO's report? Councillor Mann.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Just on number 22 for Fiona. It's talking about the CUC property, but I'm just wondering, would we be considering looking at the batting cages? Because those were all bent over too from the storm. So, because I know we partnered with the minor baseball with those.
Mr. Baker, I'll let you to answer that, or if you haven't got an answer.
I don't really have a good answer for you, I don't think. Somebody from minor ball was to contact me in regards to having that added to our asset schedule for liability purposes. At this point, it does not appear on our asset schedule as it relates to our insurable property. I did have a chat with the credit union center manager, and he thought it was minor damage in nature and that it could be repaired fairly easily. So the best answer I can give at this point is to leave it with me, and we're looking into it. If there's a way we can get it covered, then we'll certainly cover it. But yeah, it's not under our ownership, and our role in that project was to give permission for them to place it there. That was a cost that they covered and that sort of thing. So I'd ask you to leave it with me for a little bit longer. Yeah. All
right. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Any other questions, Council, on the CAO's report? Councillor Glant.
Thank you. On the same item, on item 22, I just wanted to let Council know, I don't know if anyone else had any feedback or not, but I've had several residents that were quite pleased that we had opened up the town, I don't know what we call it down there, town
collection site.
Collection site, I guess is a good word for it, to allow people to put, branches and trees that came down during Fiona and in some of the wind since then. So people were pretty appreciative of that, and that's a good thing. And the other thing I'd like to mention on that, maybe come spring, now there's there's several people that's mentioned that they still have some trees that are weakened or branches that are up in trees that haven't come down yet, or they'll have to get down maybe by spring, or the winter weather may even knock them down. So if in the spring we may be able to open that up again for another week or so to allow people to clean up anything that might come down over the winter.
Yeah, I think what we've done, if anybody has anything, what we suggested for the residents, if there are some that have something, then if they make contact with Town Hall, and we to make arrangements to have that open for that particular customer only, resident only, rather than making it a blanket, because it's going to lose control after that. So if you know of somebody, I would direct them to get in contact with Town Hall, correct? And they can arrange to have the gate opened for their particular incident. Okay? Thank you, Council. Anything else, Council? Councillor Mann?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Just on number 13 with the EV chargers, you may want to look at maybe some signage, because the one at the rink is always full, but it's not a Prius that's sitting in the spot. It's usually a 3-ton truck. So.
Yeah, I think that is the plan, is to get some signage up. I think of this plan, isn't it, Mr. Baker? Is that yes? Yeah, the plan is to get some signage up, because we can't, well, even when the streets are marked, even in the wintertime, you have to have some signs up, or they're not gonna see what's under the snow and ice. So signage is required, and I think that is the part of the plan. They aren't active yet, but they should be active, hopefully before too long. All right, anything else, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive the CAO's report, or to adopt the CAO's report if presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, we'll move right along to the Fire Department report. That report is before you. Any questions on the Fire Department report, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Doucette, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, let's move right along to the Police Department report. That report is before you. Any questions on the Police Department report? I had one question. Are we, on all the alarms, we seem to be getting quite a few more alarms now. Are we, I think we had a policy for alarms on notifying people after 2 alarms. Is that all being followed as, okay, good. Any questions, Council? Councillor Gland.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't have a question, but I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Chief Sutherland as well for making that presentation tonight to former Chief Dave Poirier. Dave, I've known Dave for many years, and he's always been, even in the past, before he became police chief in Summerside, when I was on council here, he was always cooperative and helped Kensington out in a lot of ways, and they always worked back and forth together. So I think that was a nice gesture tonight on your part and our police department to do that, and thank you for that.
No, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to work with Dave over the years, and I will tell you again, when I first came here, when I first came here, Dave was very warming and helped us get along. So it's all good. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Chief. Any other questions or comments, Council, on the Police Department report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor McCrae, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council.
I'm going to take off. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chief. There was nothing else you had for tonight?
No, nothing. That's it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Good night.
The Development Permit Summary Report is before you, Council. Any questions on the development report? You have the summary for the whole year and the summary with a comparison from 2018 right up to 2022. We had a slower year in 22 compared to the previous 2 years, but we've had lots of construction taking place, and there's lots of other projects other than residential. Any questions, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report, Development Permit Summary Report to the end of December 31st, 2022. So moved by Councillor McCray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Okay, we're into the bills. Bills for the town. Any questions on any of the bills that are before you, Council? Deputy Mayor, you have a question?
Not really a question on the bills list here, but I just noticed the Malpeque Fine Iron, we had some Christmas light repair.
Yes.
And just curious if when we're doing our budget consultation for this coming year, if we could maybe look at adding a few more lights for our Main Street into the budget.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things that's been talked about. Matter of fact, what we've been talking about doing is probably adding, having a specific line, set up a new line item for Christmas decorating and that, so we can kind of start tracking and maybe actually budget a specific number of dollars. So that's one of the things that Mr. Baker and I know and Doug, I believe, has been talking about, and I think Kim's been talking about. There's been lots of discussion on it, but we haven't done anything. They're trying to get the lights hooked up on the pole so they'll be able to. That didn't happen this year. It was supposed to be done before Fiona hit, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen after Fiona. Okay, that is good point. Any other comments, Council, on the bills for the town? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $306,890.90. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Additionally, we have bills for capital projects in the amount of $28,297.26. I would entertain a motion to pay. No? What am I? Am I in the wrong month?
November?
Well, I better go back and check. Did I get the wrong? How did I get that one? I'm not sure. I'm just going to go back here and start again. I wonder what month I had in the other ones. November 22. That should be it.
So you were off on that resolution as well with the total. You said 306. It's actually 296.
Good catch. Yeah, that motion, whoever, Councillor Mann, you made it, you meant $296,071.73? Okay. And everyone that approved it meant the same thing? Just me being on the wrong month. I got to get this computer, I got to get this mouse set for one click, because 2 clicks is taking me. Oh, yes. I was thinking that we had a lot more capital expenditures than that. Okay, the capital expenditure bills for the month, if I'm not mistaken, are $1,236,328.91. Entertain a move by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? All right. Thank you very much, Council. Now, I'm going to make sure I'm on the right one here again. The bills for the water and sewer utility for November 22. Any questions on the bills? You will notice, Council, that the bill for the sewer treatment for November is $164.17. We haven't seen something below $3,000 for a long time, and that is attributed to the wind turbine working and the O2 sensors working and everything working the way it's supposed to. So let's hope it continues to move that way for the next many, many years ahead. Any questions, Council? Yes, it's nice to see. All right, I would entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $36,409.71. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The consolidated summary income statement to the end of November is before you. Any questions, Council? None. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. We are now into the Credit Union Center report. That report is before you. Any questions, Council? Councillor Gallant.
Don't have any questions on the report itself, Mr. Mayor, but I'd also like to bring up a couple items while we're talking about the Credit Union Center, and some of it is my observing and some came from people that are walking on a regular basis. The netting that was up for the ball field, and I know it's down on the ground now and probably it's not reusable, but is it possible that could be picked up and cleaned up before the snow hits? It's sitting there in a pile and it's just on the ground.
I thought it was all gone and taken in. I know they had a problem with, they ended up getting somebody else to help to take the netting down, but
Contractor came in and took it down. Whether he left it there, I'm not sure, but I'll confirm that.
It's laying on the ground, and the other thing is the dugout that come down is still there. Is it possible that we could, I mean, it's just the look of it in itself, it's still sitting there, and I'm wondering, you know, people are walking by and driving by, and I viewed it myself, but I also had some comments from the public as regards to, you know, maybe it could be cleaned up. And the third thing, and it was still there today, there's been a ladder, which I assume belongs to the arena, sitting out behind the arena next to the driveway now since at least for way before Christmas. 24-foot extension ladder, it's still sitting there. And in my opinion, I shouldn't have to bring that up. Our CAO shouldn't even have to call on those type of things. Those should be things that are taken care of within the facility down there itself, and we shouldn't even have to be bringing those things up.
Mr. Baker will follow up on those, I am sure. Any, Councillor Doucette?
Just talking about that netting, I'm just thinking about this now. I know it's probably like an extra cost, like each time we got to take it up and down. I'm wondering, off the top of my head, without doing any research, it's pretty tough to know what we could do or what's feasible, but I wonder if there's like an option that we could have like almost like a motorized thing just to kind of save that cost so that maybe the staff could perform it, and then rather than have to get like a boom truck or whatever was needed
Just
to do it.
for the netting?
Yeah, maybe something just to look
Actually,
into.
that is actually being investigated
Oh,
right now.
okay.
That's on Mr. Wood's agenda, and he's trying to get some quotes from the supplier and look at the cost of doing something like that and whether we move in that direction or stay with the same direction we've been going. And I'm correct on that, yeah. That he's been waiting for a quote from the supplier for 2 or 3 months now. He's not getting
Okay.
everybody. I guess they must be all busy.
That's great.
We'll give them we'll say that's what it is. But I know I was talking to him on it was either, I think it was today.
Okay.
And he was saying he's still waiting for some feedback on cost of doing that. And he was also going to be checking into what they do in Summerside and what they do in, I think it was in Charlottetown somewhere. So that's on the radar.
Yep, certainly. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions, council, on the Credit Union Center report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor McRae, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. We are now into the Mayor's report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the report? Hearing none. Oh, yes, Councillor McRae.
I would just like to make a comment on the Christmas dinner that the Most
Oh, yes,
family
Boxing Day.
puts on.
Yeah.
I volunteered for it, and it went over very well. The people were very appreciative. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of laughing, and I think it was a great gesture by Shelley Most to take hand of that and put that together. So I just wanted to give a good thanks to her and her family.
Thank you. Do you know how many attended? I had left a message with her to see if I could get some information on it, but she hasn't recalled me back. So
I would say probably about 35 to 40.
Okay, good.
They had to reserve.
Yeah.
So they had
Yes,
to make
exactly.
a reservation and stuff, so we made sure that there was enough food.
Yeah.
But there was tons of food, and it was well looked after by
Yeah.
the public.
All right, good. Thank you, Councillor McRae. Any other questions or comments, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the Mayor's report as presented. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by, Councillor Doucette, I believe had. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next is report from the Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities. Councillor Mann, do you have anything to report?
Really nothing to report. It wasn't at the last meeting, other than the semi is this Saturday.
Yes, in St. Peter's. And this could be as good a time as any. I was going to bring it up under other matters, but this is as good a time as any. How many people? I think Councillor McCrae is planning to go, correct? Mm-hmm. So you can register her.
You're going now?
Councillor Spencer is going. I'm going. Anybody else going on Saturday? Councillor.
Still uncertain there, yeah, I'll have to check into that.
We'll have to
I'll
register.
let you know.
We have to register tomorrow. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you, yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Councillor Mann is going. It was actually Friday past. We're all right, because we have to get registered if, and I think Mr. Baker may be going. He's not sure yet. He's waiting to see whether he's got other plans. More exciting. Nothing more exciting. It's good meetings to go to. All right, is there any questions of Councillor Mann on the Federation? Hearing none, we'll move right along into the report from Councillor McCrae on the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Your Worship. I didn't attend the last meeting due to, there was I think it was a storm. Yeah, it was. There was a storm. And I never made it. So the next meeting is next week.
This week?
No, I think it's next week. Next week.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Councillor McCrae. Now, I guess there's, we don't have the heart of PEI. I guess we probably should put that on the list again. What I'd report on that is I did attend the meeting. If anybody on council would like to be the representative for the Heart of PEI committee, I would like you to step forward, and I would like for you all to bid on the job, and I'll try to pick the best person for it. So I would like to see somebody else other than me stepping in to do that if it's at all possible. And at the last meeting, they are trying to get money to do some other projects that are going to be in town or outside of town, and there's nothing concrete at this stage of the game, but they continue to move forward with trying to get some, I think it's through a COA or whatever funding program they can get. So depending on the funding program determines what the Heart of PEI does in the 2023 year. We'll move into the 55 plus games report update from Councillor Gallant. He has an update, and I think he's handed out a income statement or a summary statement. Councillor Gallant.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a few things to go over regarding the 55 plus games here this evening. And the first thing I'll touch on is a financial statement. I passed one out back, I guess, in November, I think it was, and there's been an update on that since. There had been a check that went missing, and it was for $750. That wasn't included in the last financial statement, so we now have about $750 more in the account than we had back then. So I just wanted to update council on that. And with that, I met back on, I think it was December 19th, it was on Monday, with the 55 Plus Games Committee, or Society in Charlottetown, Susan Dazelle and her board of directors, and went over the financial statement, and they were quite pleased, as we all should be, that at least we come out with a bit of a surplus. And they also informed me at that meeting that normally the surplus is split between, and I discussed this with the mayor earlier in the week, is split between the municipality and the 55 Plus Games Society. That was a bit of a oversight on my part, and as we got looking through their policy, I guess that is in there. However, they told me that to wait on that until they had their next meeting, and before I actually brought it to council. But I decided to, for other reasons, I'd bring it forward tonight at this time. And they are going to get back to us. So if that was the case, would be my recommendation to council that we put $2,500 in to start with. And so that would leave approximately, 50, almost $1,900 plus, maybe $2,000. So then we would split that with them if that is the case. But that would be something that I would ask the mayor to bring forward after we hear back from them, and we could decide at that point in time what's the best route to take. I did tell them we put this into an account, and it was for next year's games, and that's when they brought it to my attention. So that was kind of an oversight on my part. I read through the whole agreement, but for somehow or another I had missed that. And as I said, speaking with the mayor the other day, we found it where it is actually in there. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on that financial statement, and we can talk about it again later. And I have further comments regarding the 55-plus games tonight. As you all know, I chaired it last year, and I had a co-chair in Cindy Doucette who helped me with it, and came on board and helped me with it. Cindy informed me back a few weeks ago that she will not be returning this year for the games for various reasons, and I thanked her, and I understood where she was coming from. So she will not be returning, and I will not be returning as chairperson. I had some discussion with my family, and we have some other things or projects on the agenda for this summer. So I have said I told them I would step away from that as well. I also told the 55-plus Game Society when I met them that I wouldn't be returning. I just want to let council know I feel the games was, as I said to the mayor the other day, was a real success. After a 2-year absence of the games not being held, it was, it's a little bit more difficult to get them up and running again. We did have about 400 participants participate in the various events, and I think there was about 12 or 13 events that took place. Had a great bunch of volunteers, 30-plus volunteers, some great chair people who helped out on various events. And when I picked or tried to get chair people, you always try to get chair people that are involved in a certain event, because they have an interest in that event, and that's the ones you want to go after. And I had some great chair people, and the volunteers were terrific. Nobody received anything. They came as far away from Cornwall, Charlottetown, our own community had a number of them, the outlying areas, Summerside, Muscush, and they all came here in their own time and their own gas and volunteered and did a great job. So I certainly appreciate the fact that they came on board and did that, and I'm hoping some of them will come back this year. Having said all that, we're going to be, as I said to the mayor, look for a new chairperson or persons, and I have a couple of thoughts that I'd like to bring forward, and I think it'd be great for someone from council to step up to the plate and do it. I look across and I see Deputy Mayor Jeff Spencer over there, might be a great choice. Take that on, or we got some experienced councillors around the table that's been here for a long time, and Mann and McCrae and Toombs, and if somebody like Deputy Mayor Spencer would step up to the plate and take that on, or maybe the others could join him as co-chairs or even a committee. That's just a thought that I have. I think it would be great. It would get you involved in the community, and I'm sure they got lots of volunteers that they know that they could contact to help them out. And I'm sure there's some of the volunteers from last year would come back. Matter of fact, I know there would be some come back. I can't say that they'd all come back, but there has been some indicate that they would return this year. And if that wasn't to happen, my other thought would be, as you all know, a couple of years ago we put extra money in the budget for Credit Union Center to hire another full-time person down there, which we did. And maybe if we could talk to, or the mayor and the CAO could talk with Robert Wood, and maybe he could take that on as part of his job this summer and run it out of the rink, along with maybe some volunteers or maybe some council members as well to operate the games this year. That would just be a thought. I think Robert would do a good job on it, and Obviously, he'd need volunteers to take on the various committee, or various events as well, as would anybody. So that's just a couple of thoughts that I had, and I think there's good people around the table here, and I think it would be a good, it'd be good for them, and it would show real leadership if someone else could step up to the plate. And I just wanted to get that out there tonight, because they'll have to start meeting probably sometime late March, early April. Last year, just for your information purposes, we met in March, or late March, April, May, maybe one meeting in June, early June, and then we didn't meet in July until late August. And we also, by the way, had, as you know, had a student hired who did some of the legwork during the day, along with the executive director of the 55 Plus Society in Charlestown. She was Victoria Laird. She was quite helpful as well. So having said all that, I'm just hoping that someone will step up to the plate and do it. I enjoyed doing it, and maybe again sometime I'll take another project on, but I've made some other commitments, and I wanted to let council know in lots of time so we could have someone else come aboard. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glant, and thank you for being the chair and co-chair of it for this year on behalf of council and the town. And it is going to be good, I think, to start off with an amount of money in the account. So I suspect that where the town of Kensington is going to be the host community for the second year in a row, there'll probably be less chance of them taking half the money back, because in the past they've probably, it's always been another community every year. So they hopefully they'll leave it in the books for now. Anyway, and if anybody is ready to step up and wants to take this on, by all means, see me, and that'll be one of the things that we will get looked after between now and the next, hopefully, as I guess you said, probably March is when things start to fall into place. So if anybody's chewing at the bit to take this on, by all means, step up before somebody else does. We don't want you to miss an opportunity. I think it actually is something that probably, you enjoyed it, and it was a good week. It does take some time, does take commitment, but there's you can get a co-chair to work with you from the community as well. And let's try to make the next term of the 55 plus games, our second year in a row, to be equally as good, or even it might even grow. Any questions that council has of Councillor Glant? Hearing none. All right. Well, thank you. We will receive that report as it was presented. We'll move now into new business. We have one item of for discussion on the request for decision, item number 1, that 2023-01 request for a decision to share the road pilot project request. Council, have you got any questions on the information that is before you? As you may recall, Councillor Toombs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just to look into it and get public feedback right now. Is that correct?
Correct.
We're not going forward necessarily one way or the other. No, it's just to see what the feeling is in the community.
There's a series of things that have to be done if we're moving in that direction. And Mr. Baker and I have talked with this, and we feel that maybe the first step in the process, we did have the presentation. Were you here, Councillor Doucette, for the presentation from the ATV, or was that before you? No, I think I missed that. Just before you? Just missed it. Just missed it, yes. Anyway, you may get to see it at this public presentation. We feel that perhaps the first step in the process would be to kind of get a feel for the community. We want to try to educate them on the residents in the community, what it is that we're talking about, before council comes together and tries to make a decision which direction to go, whether to go for it or not go for it or whatever. We want to have a public consultation to help us in our deliberations. So that's kind of the first step, and that's what we're recommending, that council authorize the CAO to move forward with setting up a public consultation, and give some information to the public, answer any questions from the public, see what the questions are, see what the concerns are, and then we'll decide the next step after that. So we're not going to try and predetermine the next step. We want to consult first, not last. Any questions, Council? Yes, Deputy Mayor Pickering. Sorry. I hope I get that straightened out before. Deputy Mayor Spencer. if Deputy Mayor Pickering is watching, or former Deputy Mayor Pickering is watching, she's probably having a chuckle right now.
Thank you, Your Worship.
I should have put you in a different chair.
There you go. I wanted to say Mr. Mellish did a great job in the presentation, and Mr. Andrews too, but I'll make the motion here that be it resolved the Kensington Town Council authorize CAO to develop a public consultation session to solicit feedback from interested residents, businesses, owners to aid the Town Council's consideration of an ATV Share the Road pilot project as requested by the PEI ATV Federation.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Spencer. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Second by Councillor Doucette. Is there any discussion, Council? Councillor Glant.
Thank you. I like the idea of going public with it, and I think it gives residents an opportunity, because I don't know if anyone else around the table has anybody mentioned it to them, but I did have a couple of people that were aware of it and thought it would be a good idea that the town would at least give people an opportunity and give them a little more information before we made that decision.
Yeah. And we've actually picked a couple of dates, have we not, Mr. Baker?
Yeah.
Yes, I think we picked March 8th
15th.
and 15th. March 8th is the scheduled date, and the snow date would be March the 15th. So that gives us plenty of time to advertise. We want to advertise and make sure that the public in Kensington are aware of it and do come out. If they do come out and have questions or concerns or just want to know what's going on, at least they have an opportunity. So we want to make sure there's nobody can say they didn't know about it. So that's why we're taking a month and a half before we start to actually have a meeting or have a consultation. Councillor Glant?
So I'm assuming the ATV club would be at that meeting, would they? And maybe our police department as well?
Yeah, we're putting, Mr. Baker, we'll be putting together what the consultation, what'll take place there, but the ATV Federation would be one of the ones we would invite to make a presentation as well, and it may be the same presentation that they made to us, where we'll leave that to them to decide what they want to present. We'll also present for information, and we'll probably have the police department there, so that'll come together. We're not sure exactly what all is going to be into it yet, but we'll figure that one out as we go along. Councillor McCrae.
Thanks, Your Worship. So it's March 8th and 15th?
No, March 8th is the date. If it happens to be storming and we have to cancel, we're just going to let people know that.
Okay.
So we're not trying to advertise twice. So if it's snowing and it's canceled, they know they'll come the next week.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so it's 8th only, and if it's storming and we have to cancel it, they know that we've advertised it'll be the next week.
Okay. Thank you.
What? Did I miss something?
No, he's asking the time.
Oh, I think didn't we say 7 o'clock?
I believe we did say 7 o'clock.
I think we did. It's in there. We'll know by the time we advertise anyway. I think we were talking 7 o'clock. No, it's not in there. Okay. Anyway, any other questions, Council? All right, we have a motion before us. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Okay, next is the other matters. We've already mentioned the Federation, the PEI thing. Now, I would be planning to put an hour and a half drive down to St. Peter, so I'll plan on starting to leave Kensington around, start doing the pickup around 7:30. So hopefully we're out of Kensington by court date, 10 date.
Sure you don't make that earlier. I went with the one that was getting off the slow.
What? Now, Mr. Baker. I think Mr. Baker set you up to say that.
I think you're a great driver.
Look at him. Yeah. The public is watching, so I'm not going to tell him what Mr. Baker's New Year's resolution was. He hasn't failed it yet. I give him credit. The EV chargers, those that we've already talked about, they're coming along soon. One of the things that during the last 2 weeks, February the 18th to March the 5th, is when the Winter Games, 2023 Winter Games are on, and we've ordered a flag, a 2023 Winter Games flag to fly on the pole during that period of time. And Bedford Exchange, let you all know, don't forget Bedford Exchange is the weekend of January the 28th. And also, I have a request from the Federation, or the 2023 Winter Games. They're looking for a couple of, they're having a celebration thank the volunteers of all the they do have their 5,000 volunteers for put on the games, by the way. That's been announced the other day. So they're going to have a couple of, I guess, appreciation events for them, and they want to try and draw names and give them out. So they've asked us if we would donate a couple of prizes. So Mr. Baker and I have been talking. We thought what we'd do is probably get a couple of our those green carry things that we have, the insulated ones, and we'll fill them up with a bunch of stuff from the town of Kensington, not the town of Kensington, but from suppliers. We'll kind of make some gift baskets or big gift bags. So unless council has an issue with that, we'll make up a couple and present them for them on behalf of the town of Kensington. Is that okay? All right. That's all I had. Any other councillors? Any other? Councillor Glant.
I have a couple of items I had forgot when I was talking about, or speaking on the credit union center report. In the parking lot down there, there's a couple of large potholes. I don't know if anyone else has. One really bad one just as you drive in, right in the middle, and it's huge. And I think if we could get, I know we can't get pavement in there, but if we could get some coal patch or gravel or something in there before somebody blows a tire, or more importantly, if somebody happens to trip in it and twist an ankle or even break an ankle. So there's 2 or 3 holes as you drive in. I don't know if anyone else noticed them or not, but maybe we could get them looked at.
All right, Mr. Maker's got it noted.
And the other thing I have regarding the arena, I was just wondering, has there been any thought put into it? Now, I'm just speaking after talking with a couple of other communities where they feel when the Canada Games is on that a lot of their arenas are going to be selling a lot less ice time, not because of the Canada Games, but with people going away when the games are on, and minor hockey's not operating, or figure skating, or whatever other activities might be in the rink. Has there been any talk of that with our arena? And if not, is there any thought being put into it, just in case there is that does happen, where we could fill those spots with something else? I wonder. Just wanted to bring that forward as well.
We'll let Mr. Baker bring that to Mr. Wood's attention and see whether there may be something else that can be scheduled, or make sure try to fill the time as much as we can.
And it might just be hearsay, but I have talked to a couple of other people from other communities that brought that to my attention, so that's why I brought it forward here.
All right, thank you. Councillor Doucette.
Yeah, sorry, this is just back to the EV chargers. I heard today from a rep from, I think Leviton it was going to be, January 17th. I just wanted to make sure everyone heard the date.
17th?
Yeah, it's going to be commissioned on the 17th. Yeah.
Okay, because the meters are all on now. It's just a matter of getting them commissioned, and then getting some signs up, and then hopefully people will start to use them. All right, anything else? Any other matters, council? All right, hearing none, we'll move right along into correspondence. First item of correspondence is an invitation from the, it's World Religion Day. I wasn't aware of this, but World Religion Day apparently is the 3rd Sunday in January. It was news to me. Anyway, the Sikh community, I believe it in Charlottetown, has sent an invitation out. It's the first one I've ever received, and they're inviting everybody to attend. So they've asked if you and your community members are cordially invited to join us at 2 p.m. on Sunday, January the 15th. That's this Sunday at the Malcolm J. Dara Community Center on 1 Avonlea Drive in Charlottetown. So if anybody wants to go, and even anybody on the public that wants to go, you can you'll find on our website where you can confirm that you will be attending, because they do want to have confirmation of who is participating, so they know how many people are going to be there in case they have too many. So I give that to you for your information. I guess we'll at this stage of the game just receive it for information, and if you wish to go, by all means, please do so. The next item is the request from the 2023 Canada Winter Games. I did send out some information to you all this afternoon. They have running short of, they've got about 88% of their funds already. They still need about another $800 and some thousand. So I sent out some information to you this afternoon, or this morning, I guess it was late morning, to try and give you some more information after dealing with, or talking with Chris at the Winter Games. Council, I'm not going to go over all the information I sent out, but you do have, I presume you all, did you all get it and get a chance to read it? Are there any questions, any clarification needed? What is your wish, Council? Councillor Glant?
So are you talking on this letter or
Yes.
the action? Okay. I didn't receive the email until this evening when I got here because it didn't come in on my phone for some reason, so I just got it once I got here tonight. So they've sent this letter out, and that's why the request is coming forward now. Is that
Yes. The letter came out the 5th. When's that? Last Thursday, I think I got it. I think it was Thursday, yeah. I think the 5th. I got it on Thursday, the 5th.
So is there going to, was I reading correctly that there's still going to be a couple of more events in Kensington, or possible? And I don't mean sporting events, but...
Well, they're not sporting events. They do have cultural events, and you didn't have your mic on there, or did you? Maybe you did. We don't know specifically what those events are going to be. They're not scheduled yet. They're still going to be scheduled in the future. We have contributed $5,000 already, and we've already got $5,000 back from them to host the torch parade or torch relay, and that money is spent. Some of it's been spent on the torch relay. Plus, there's other money that they call, I think it's called Heritage, so we can put other things like, I think they're looking at some advertising banners and some other things that the town can use that money for. So it's not, doesn't go into town coffers, but it is for, what's the word, heritage? Legacy. I knew it was something like that. So we can spend that money on legacy projects. So we've got the $5,000 back already. And they are still short. They still are short around $850,000. And they've asked us if we would reconsider the amount that we have committed. And I've tried to give you all a bit of an idea on some reasons why we probably should. Every other community that they have asked, to my understanding, has committed to the $10 per capita. It's not a matter of us not being able to afford to do it. We can do it. We could pay the whole thing. We could pay it off this year if we wanted. We were one of there were 18 communities in Prince Edward Island that were selected for the torch relay, which is an honor to have been selected. And anyway, what can I say? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm reading this information. I know back in September, I think September, when we first considered this, my biggest concern was our finances, and I wasn't sure if we could afford to do the $10 per capita they were asking. But upon the information that we've been provided and with sales of lots and whatnot, we seem to have enough money we could do it this year. And also, I didn't realize at the time that basically everything we've given them, we've already been given back with our torch relay, which was a great promotion for our town, and does help with the games in general. Will help with tourism in all of Prince Edward Island, which Kensington always reaps some awards of that. So I'd be willing to reconsider, for sure.
Council, any other comments? Obviously, at the time, back in September, our population is really 2,000. At the point in time when they wrote this letter, the population census information they were looking at was the town's population was 1,619 people. The census the actual last census that came out since then, the figures were 1,800 and something, but it still didn't include the new properties that were added, Andrews Drive, etc. So we're really a little over the 2,000 right now. So if we were actually paying the $10 per capita the same as every other community, we would be at around $20,000. Their ask is still the $16,190, and I guess what I would ask council to consider paying the $16,190, or better still, to pay the recommendation that Mr. Baker and I had at that time in September, to pay the $20,000, which is equal to what the other communities have done on Prince Edward Island. Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Worship. During the torch relay, as you probably know, Wayne, or you would know, Wayne Crew was here and spoke briefly at the function over there. So I had a great chat with Wayne during that function or after the function, and just get a few more details on the Canada Games and what it meant to PEI and so on and so forth. And he did give me some information that I wasn't aware of before regarding different events and so on and so forth and what might take place. And he made a couple of comments to me as to regards to why they would like to see community support, supported a little more than we had in the past or had back in September. And I'm not strictly making my decision on my conversation with Wayne, but he did bring up a couple of good points to me, and he never even mentioned our contribution. So it wasn't like he was trying to change my mind or anything. It wasn't even brought up actually. It was just in conversation with him regarding some activities and not so much during the games or with the games right now, but in the things that could happen in the future because of the games. So, yeah, I think I could reconsider, but I'd like to hear from other council members as well.
Any councillors have any negative feelings why we shouldn't reconsider? Let me ask the question that way. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Toombs.
I'm happy with our decision before and stuff like that. If we were holding events and stuff there, I would never have a question about it, type of deal. So that's my opinion on it.
Thank you. Yeah, and the comment I would have on that is that there's a lot of tourists and a lot of people are going to be coming to the island, and if they tend to come back, and if they come back, we tend to get our fair share in the Kensington and the surrounding area, and all our businesses and in the area do benefit. Anybody that benefits in the business community benefits the town indirectly, because if they're strong and they stay strong, that means that the town of Kensington is going to stay strong. And that's why, there's lots of times you can look at things and say, oh, well, we're not getting anything right there. But, if you took that look, I'll just give you one example. Way back, 2011, something like that, the early childhood learning was in the old, where the senior surfers are right now. And they were looking for a spot. They were going to put mobiles up at the high school. We approached KenNet at the time approached, which I was actually in KenNet. I was on the board of directors of KenNet at the time. Approached the province to see if they would put the early childhood learning in the KenNet building, because KenNet was struggling to stay afloat. They were struggling to stay afloat, and the province wasn't prepared to do it at that point in time, but they would if the town owned the building. So KenNet sold the building to the town of Kensington. At that point in time, the plan was for 25 spots to become available to move from the old senior surfers building over to the new KenNet building with some renovations, and the province paid for the renovations. Before it was all said and done, one of the parties that was renting there had decided they were going to move out, so they moved out and bought King George Place and renovated King George Place, and it was sitting vacant and nothing had been done. So now it jumped from 25 spots for children to 50 spots for children, which was still, as it turns out, still not enough. As a result of that as well, one of the tenants that was in there renting from KenNet bought where Dirtle's Bookkeeping did that building over. Who else? There was something else.
Physio into here.
Physiotherapy moved into here. We ended up renting the spot for the library from Libby Hubley and moving the library over to there and moving the physiotherapy into here. So out of that one little decision, there were a sequence of events that took place. Nobody could really see them really ahead of time, but those things happen from the right decisions being made. You can't always make your decisions based on this is going to happen today, and if I don't get some results today, I'm going to do nothing. You got to think into the future. And I think that this is something that we're right now, we're the only community that hasn't really stepped up to the plate, and we should be the leader of these smaller communities, not the follower. We've been the leader on everything else, and I hate us being a follower on this, quite frankly. And I feel strongly that we should be going for at least 16,190, preferably 20,000 to represent the 2,000 population that we currently have, and step up to the plate and be counted for the leader that we should be. Yes, Councillor Gland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to elaborate again, and I want to tie the 55-plus games into this one, as we had last September. And I took it upon myself mostly for the sponsorship of it, and we delivered letters and hand-delivered some of them and spoke to various businesses within our community about sponsorship. Well, this year, hopefully we'll be hosting the 55-plus games again in September, and I think a lot of those businesses in the community, or not a lot of them, but some of them, told me that we are supporting the 55-plus, or the Canada Games. Yeah. Not necessarily with a big donation, but in some cases allowing employees to volunteer their time, paid time. They would pay them to go for a day or 2 days or whatever the case might be. So having said that, there is businesses in the community that are supporting the games some way, shape, or form. And this year, when the town goes to talk to some of those businesses about sponsorship for the 55-plus games, we're more apt to get some money this year, because the Canada Games did take away, I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we didn't say that, they did take away from some of the sponsorship maybe we would have got for the 55-plus games. Mm-hmm. Although it went over well, I think there's more opportunities for more sponsorship out there next year than there was this year because of the Canada Games. So there is businesses in the community that feel they are going to benefit from the Canada Games, and with us supporting the Canada Games, maybe those businesses will look at that and say, you know, we could support the town in the future for various events here as well. Just my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Councillor Gland. Councillor Doucette.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I agree with all those things, obviously, and I would actually jump on board with Deputy Mayor Spencer and reconsider to go with the 20,000. I mean, looking at it again, it's not one of these things that happens yearly either, right? This is one of these things that comes around once in a while. So to support that, I think that'd be a great initiative for the town for sure.
Would you like to make that a motion, Councillor Doucette, and that way we can vote it for?
Yes, Your Worship. I'll actually do the motion this time, too.
Clarify and make the motion for an additional 15,000.
Yes, if you're, can you make the motion for an additional 15,000? Because we've already paid 5,000. So make it for, we don't want to make it 20, well, I'm sure they take 20,000 more, but exactly. If you could make a motion to make an additional 15,000 to the donation sponsorship.
Yes. So so I'd like to make a motion that the town council provide an additional $15,000 for the sponsorship for the 2023 Canada Winter Games being hosted in Prince Edward Island from February 18th, 2023 to March 5th, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor Doucette. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by, I'm not sure whose hand got up there first. I think it was Councillor McCrae, I think, got the hand up first, right? Okay. Discussion, Council. Councillor Gland.
Just one other point I'd like to make. Are we doing this now, or was it over the 2 or 3 years? If we have them, obviously it looks like we have the funds to do it now, so.
Is your motion, can your motion be adjusted to be paid now?
Yeah, we'll do the current fiscal year.
Okay. Yeah. And the seconder? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, to be paid now. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor? All those opposed? One opposed. Councillor Toombs opposed. Thank you, Council. The motion is carried, and I thank you for that. I think it is the right decision, short-term and long-term, and I appreciate you reconsidering it. Okay, Mr. Baker, you may be excused. I believe that's the only correspondence that we had. That's the last correspondence we had. So we are now ready to go into, we do have a couple of items that we want to bring to your attention. Yes, but we have to have a motion to go into in camera first. I would entertain a motion to go into a committee of the whole to deal with a couple of items under the MGA, the Municipal Government Act, under 119-1-B, items for consideration. Moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Glant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. All right.